So what you are going to look for when you are investigating animal cruelty, or even when you are simply taking a relinquished animal from someone in need into your rescue, to determine that there might be a bigger need for social services or for a fire department to know about a certain facility, things like that, we're going to discuss a number of issues that will help you know when to report to another agency and when to work with that agency. So in some of the slides that I'm going to show you, you will see some shocking things, but I want you to be prepared that looking away from them doesn't make it easier for you to be an animal rescuer. I do understand the tender-hearted, and by all means, these cases have all been resolved for the benefit of everyone. I don't have any sad stories up here, but I do want you to know that part of our work is understanding that people get into trouble and animals get into trouble with us. So the first things that we naturally assume are signs of trouble is that if somebody has sufficient resources, if we go to a house and there's plenty of dog food, furniture's nice car, people are wearing nice clothes, then there can't be any reason for need for services, and they obviously don't need to give up their pet for financial reasons. And this is a bias that we have that we need to let go of. We also tend to judge people on the love of their pet. If they say he and she instead of it, or if they refer to the pet by name, or if they've spent a lot of money in medical bills, then we tend to equate that with love, which is also a mistake. It doesn't mean it isn't. It's just not evidence that you can use in court, and it certainly isn't evidence that you should use to determine whether someone needs more help than just relinquishment or removal of the animal. Also, we tend to believe that a house with a large number of complaints is clearly a problem, and that can be a bias that also steers you in the wrong direction. So one of the problems that you'll frequently see with animal-related issues is the problem of hoarding, and hoarding actually refers to collecting of all kinds of items: trash, valuable items, invaluable items, pieces of things. I was in a house once that was just wall-to-wall computer parts. So you want to be aware that if this behavior is happening, there are a lot of researchers working on why it does happen. Some people say it's OCD, some people say it's delusional, some people say it's a character disorder, some say it's a fear of death. We don't know for sure. What we do know is that recidivism is very high. If someone is collecting things and you take them all away, they will probably start collecting the minute you leave. So you want to make sure to involve other agencies, the family if they're available, so that the person can get part of their life back. A specific type of hoarding is the hoarding of live animals, and we have all met the person who has too many birds or too many cats to care for properly. But how do you determine what is a rescue gone wrong and what is a person who actually has a mental problem? And part of that is in talking to the person. What happens when you're talking to the person is, I'll give you an example. In a house full of cats, I picked up one cat that was dehydrated and thin, and said to the woman who was the owner, and it is not always a woman, and said to her, "What about this one?" And she knew her name and she knew when she was born, and she said, "You know, she hasn't eaten since Monday," which was like 2 days ago, "and I'm going to take her to the vet." And I have to gently say to her, it's been a lot longer since Monday, since this cat has eaten a full meal. And you will know that the person is suffering from something bigger than just neglecting the pets or getting involved and over her head, because she's absolutely in denial of that. She does not see that the cat hasn't eaten for longer. She believes the cat will just bounce back with a meal. And so you can get that impression from talking to the person that maybe their self-care is suffering, maybe they're disconnected from their family, and you may need to involve other agencies in getting this situation resolved. There is a separate type of person that just has too many animals. Many times the animals will all be labeled, have their own collars, have their own enclosures, be very well groomed, but they are not able to get individual attention because of their sheer number. Exotic animals. There is an attraction that we all have for something that's unusual and exciting, and so you will also want to address a person whose inclination is to have something rare or even something dangerous. And you often hear the people saying about their wild pet that they believe they have a special understanding with that animal and that the animal will never hurt them because of this special understanding. Another thing that you might see when you're there is the resources that are in the place as well as their allocation. So they may have tons of resources, plenty of money, but it's not being spent on cleanliness and good nutrition and paying utilities. Or they may not have the resources to even properly care for themselves, and yet the dog has a clean, dry dog house and goes to the free rabies clinic every year. So you need to assess, given the resources the person has, how much are they allocating to the animals? Because if it is the proper share of what they have to offer, you may be looking at someone who needs social services and not someone who is mistreating a pet. You also want to consider the person's ability to care for the individual animal that they have. I have two pictures here. One is of a pet who an owner chooses to keep long-haired, and one is of a pet who has not been groomed in quite some time and is suffering from that. You need to know the difference. Maybe you wouldn't keep a Bichon long-haired, but if the hair is clean and brushed, then that is not up to you, and that is something that an owner can decide. So you may also find code violations, fire violations, places where you're not allowed to have chickens. You can involve Department of Agriculture. One of the ways to resolve problems for people in trouble is to have a task force approach, multiple agencies giving them the resources that they have. We tend to see that the people who come to animal control are also the people known at the food bank, are also the people known by the local sheriff, are also the people known at social services. So why not meet together in the beginning and discuss how to best serve them so that they don't just bounce from agency to agency, therefore the problem never gets resolved.